your move, your move.
What's up guys, Rogta here with our good friend Mark. He's going to be giving us a very spicy Into the Sarcophagus build.
Put the deck list in the sarcophagus.
Yeah, that's the list we got for today, so please
Yeah.
take it away.
Okay, I'll show you the Horus stuff first because it's the most interesting. So we've got the 3 Imseti. You need to see this, all the Horus lists that trying to make the Horus the center of the deck. He's the guy. I've got quite a few ways into him, which I'll show as I go on. I've decided as well with the one-offs of the different Horus names, I actually run all 3. This one isn't too popular, Kebesenuef, but I find sometimes you do want the extra body on the field because you can use this card, the King Sark, which I'm running 2 of. You can use it 4 times a turn, so you may as well get your 4 uses out of it by having the 4th name. I run 2 because you need it in deck. You don't want it in hand, but you also need 1 in deck, so you need 2. So you're like, it's that whole bricking more to brick less thing where, you know, you want the Imseti search, so you need to have 1 in deck for it. And if you do draw 1 and then you search it, that's fine. You just discard it anyway. It's not the end of the world having it, but yeah, you'd rather not. But yeah, 2. I think 2 is correct at the moment. But again, it's so new. The ratios are probably going to change, and I'm going to look like an idiot eventually. But this is cool for now. Then here's the other half of the deck. And I guess shout outs to MBT for switching me onto it with his deck profile. I've made some changes from that, but that's kind of the initial jumping off point. But we got the Therion engine, which 3 Lily, 2 of the King, and then other level 8 light guy, and the Alicia. So all the level 8s, and I run 1 of the level 7. I tend to side him out, go second, but go first. It's a nice interruption to bounce back to hand. And it being a water isn't terrible because you can always like small world, which is probably what's going to come up next, this guy into like your water 1 and into any of your other level 8s. So it's not terrible, but it's kind of annoying when you have all of your things like trading and you can't get rid of this guy. But he's good, go first. 3 Argyro system. This is probably could be cut, but down to 2 at least. But I like it at 3 because it helps you play around Droll. Any Therion name plus Argyro system is play around Droll because you Argyro the King and then summon it back with the other Therion, and then you're Droll proof then, which will come up a lot because as you'll see, you're going to do a lot of adding to hand and drawing and stuff like that. So we got 2 of the field spell as well. Again, I cut this down to 2. It was at 3. I found I saw it too much, so 2 is fine. And then we got 1 of the spell in the trap. Charge and cross. Again, go first, it's fine. It's an extra interruption. It's a negate and a banish, which is handy. This searchable off Lily. There's a draw 2, so you can Lily effect, sending any of your cards from hand to get this, and then this to send the Lily from the equip, which is usually equipped to like a Regulus or something. And that draws you 2 more. And you need the hand advantage because of this. This is a very hungry card. It eats into all of your card advantage in your hand. You have to send constantly to send all of your Horus names, so you want to draw. You want to draw a lot. All right, we'll move all this out of the way. So non-engine stuff. Triple Ash. Ash is good. I don't really know what else to say. It's just Ash. It is a small world bridge into some weird lines that you can take as well, so that's useful. 2 Veiler again. Small world bridge, and again it's Veiler. It's good. Lava Golem. It's a level 8, discard off trading. You can small world into any of your other level 8s through it or to it from all of your other level 8s as well. So you could be like Ash, Lava Golem, add any of your level 8 cards or vice versa. There's a lot of, like the main consideration for this deck for me was using the small world bridges. And this saves you so many times go second because this deck does inherently have a problem go second. Go first, you can put up a pretty solid board, but go second, you kind of need stuff like this to be able to play. 1 of Kaiju. I mean, again, it's a level 8. It's a water 2, which is useful for that level 7. You can small it that way and get into your level 8 stuff. And you know, Kaijus are fun. Kaijus are good. We have the Archfiend. It's a fiend like the Lava Golem. It's a light like the Veiler. So we could into Veiler into Imseti. We can. There's a lot of lines there that you can take, and also it's an MST. You lose pretty hard to certain floodgates, so being able to search this out with small world isn't the worst thing in the world as well. any of your level 8 into Lava Golem into this is nice to then out, say, I don't know, a Gozen, which would stop you playing. And then probably my favourite card in the deck, like, I can't stress enough how important this is to the build. You see Imseti through this, you see your board breakers through this, you see any of your Therion names you need to see through this. It just makes the whole deck tick. It's amazing. And another synergy, which came up a few times today, this, after you banish your stuff face down, say for example you do Ash into Veiler to add Imseti, on opponent's turn, if they trigger your Horus stuff, as they tend to do, by removing your cards with card effects, say they trigger Happy, Happy lets you add 2 banished cards, doesn't specify what type. You can add your Veiler and your Ash that you've banished face down off of Small World. You can add those back to hand for 2 extra interrupts off of the Happy add. I'm still learning the deck as I go as well, so I'm sure even more text will come up like that, but that is definitely something to consider when you're going through your Small World lines, is you might be able to redeem those cards back to your hand with the effect of Happy on opponent's turn, and you can, you know, if it's an Ash and a Veiler, like add Ash and Veiler to your hand is crazy. Like it's brilliant. 3 trading, again, you need to draw cards, they're all level 8s, it makes sense. You need the level 8 engrave. Yeah, it's free, like why wouldn't you? You can do it 3 times in a turn, it's stupid. And then the one-offs, non-engine stuff, just Duster, called by. Stops you getting drolled or shifted if you see it. If you don't, kind of sucks, I guess, but it is what it is. And Duster, again, you need to have a chance to go second, so you main deck with Duster, I think. I could see the way to putting this in a side instead, but I think main is fine. I was at 39 and it just made sense. So I was like, yeah, okay, we'll go with that. Okay, so on to the extra deck. The main card I make with this deck is the Coach King. This is a German copy, thanks Cassis. But it's draw 3. Your Horus engine inherently you put 4 level 8s on the board, so you can make this and leave. I tend to leave Happy just for that aforementioned that tech option of adding back your stuff that you've banished off of Small World, or like, yeah, I think Happy is probably the best one with interruption, but you could leave any of the other ones as well, and then you use the other 3 to make this and draw 3 more, deeper draw into the deck. Games 2 and games 3, it can be really clutch when you go first, because you will see your side cards off of all of the draw power that you have, as long as you don't get drolled. We have the Sargas, 2 level 8s, search any Therion, makes sense. And also he has the effect where if someone detaches an Xyz material, either you or your opponent, you get to pop a card, I think, as well. But that doesn't tend to come up, but it's something to consider. We have the Zeus and the anti-Zeus. You make a lot of Xyz monsters, Zeus just makes sense. And Typhon, I don't know, he is good. I think the bounce not being a quick effect is a bit annoying, because I've made him, and then obviously on summon, if they have any kind of some sort of removal for him or whatever, that's it. He's not going to get off, but it does put an extra bit of pressure on when you just suddenly switch off things like their Barons or their Zeuses as well. It's good. I think you include it. The negate off of the Photon Lord. It's a good generic rank 8 thing. I mean, if you know rank 8 toolbox decks, I think this finds its way in quite a lot. The OTK package. This wins you a lot of games. Just any 2 level 8s is immediately 9k on board for the Numeron Dragon. So you'd make the Draglubion, and then you Draglubion effect. He's not targetable as well. So if they're good, they might hold any kind of thing that they have to target this to negate or whatever. But usually you leave some of their thing on board so they can like imperm you from hand or whatever. You've cleared a lot of what they have, and then once you've played through all of their interrupts, this is like the sort of, okay, now I'll just make Numeron Dragon and go for game. And it catches a few people off guard if they don't understand the rank 8 toolbox. They will think that they've got you to a point where they'll survive another turn, and then you just overlay, make this, and then they're like, what? You have to explain, yeah, it's got 9k attack, and yeah, that's definitely a good match, a good game winner. Dingirsu is just a good form of removal. He can get you, like, it doesn't come out too much, but like if your Regulus gets banished, you can get the banished Regulus back. I think he attaches the banished machine as material. But other than that, I think I just have him as another form of removal to make if I need to 2 level 8s into him. And then a risky card to make at the moment, the Zombie Vampire. If you know what you're playing into, maybe game 2 or 3, you're more likely to make this. I think making this blind is very risky right now, but yeah, I think it's important to include, especially if you don't see certain cards, just being able to dig that bit deeper into your deck to then summon out one of your level 8s that you need can be quite crucial. And onto the one synchro monster we have, Psychic End Punisher. Ash Blossom plus any of your level 8s. You don't normal summon, so you're going to have the normal for the Ash. So you draw into half your deck, you see Ash, and if you're turn 2, turn 3, or you've taken some damage at this point, you can probably push the game with this as well. And also it's unaffected, and it's another removal too. Like, you banish a monster, banish one of their cards. It does come up, it's good. The links I use, so probably the one that's I make the most out of the link monsters, World Gears. I quite like this card. I don't think you see it too often either, because its material requirements are so specific. Like, you need 3 different monsters that are level 5 or higher, and then to proc the effect that you want, they have to all be different types and attributes, which your Horus monsters and your Therion monsters, they all are different types and attributes from each other. So 3 of those into this is destroys all the other cards on the field, but your Horus monsters are immune to non-targeted destruction thanks to the King's Sarg. So it's a board wipe, but not for you. You can make this plus a couple of Horus monsters like live as well. So say 2 Horus and a Therion, and then leave 2 more Horus, and this 3/5, and then Horus is like 3, and then another 2/5. That's game usually. That's enough. And if not, then you can still do the 2 Horus into the Numeron Dragon 2 and attack with that for game into an empty board. Yeah. Also, it is unaffected by monster effects, so it's just a hard card to out sometimes. Again, just a good generic link monster that benefits from you using high level monsters to make it. I mean, people know what the Blackluster Soldier Chaos does at this point. It's good. It's a good include. And then I only managed to get the Little Knight recently, so I've only included these for today. I've not done as much testing with them, but I like them in theory. I think if you threaten with an IP on an end board and a couple Horus monsters, they will tend to try and stop you from going into the SP Little Knight and try and remove the IP and stuff, and that just plays into your Horus engine. So you could theoretically plus even without going into your IP Masquerade into SP Little Knight. And obviously IP into SP is just good generically as well. It just gives you an extra bit of recursion, another tool going first that allows you to sort of out-resource your opponent, and go second. It's a really good interrupt to just be able to banish a card, and then on top of that, every single turn afterwards. So yeah, I like it. I think I keep them. Onto the side deck, we have the Triple Droll. I think this format is kind of a wide format, and you see Droll more, I think, in formats where there's a lot more things that you're contending with, because it just generically stops a lot of random different decks, and then it's just, it is a good card. Like, there are the formats when it's bad, but I think right now it's correct. It's also, with the build I'm playing with the Small Worlds, it can Small World Bridge, because one of your level 8s is a Wind, Happy, and also Lily Borea is a Wind as well, so it's not the worst card in the world to see in multiples. If, you can resolve one and Small World on turn 2, say go second, Small World, draw them, and then Small World on your turn into something useful, so it can be quite good. You don't normal, as I've said, so Denko just makes sense. It's really searchable, again, with the Small World, and also things like the Lab matchup, it just wins. Rescue Ace matchup as well, which is pretty funny. They tend to, obviously, they will get their full combo live quite consistently now, thanks to the Diabell Star engine and stuff. But if you going second into Rescue Ace, normal to Denko, immediately you've got an advantage, because so much of an interruption is centered around that back 4 that they set. Like, they might shotgun the one of them in the draw phase, the one that summons, I believe, but like it's good. It trades really well into Rescue Ace. This card, Spellbound, has won me a few games. Things that I would have considered being good into, like IP, into IP, threatening IP into SP. Spellbound is great. It just leaves the IP dead on the field, and then you can make the Numeron Dragon, and 9k over the 800 IP Masquerena is game. So that's quite good in this build, and it's won me games that I mean, it seems obvious now, but at the time I didn't consider when I was building the branded Chimera lists. They tend to need monsters on field to make the Guardian. Well, they do need for Guardian Chimera, but they tend to need it as well for the Chimera fusion. And I've had it where activate Chimera Fusion, chain Spellbound, and they've had monsters on board that they've needed for the Chimera Fusion, and they've just had to resolve without effect on the Chimera Fusion, and that always feels good, because that engine generates so much advantage that it's nice to just have some sort of a chance to stop that from going off, especially when you've already spent you spend all your other eruptions on the branded side of things. It's nice to have something else for the Chimera cards. I mean, everyone knows D-Baz. It's brilliant. You draw so much, go first as well. Like, you are going to see your side cards, and seeing this, like, it just wins you so many matchups. It wins Pearly, into Runic as well. I've had it against, I think it was Runic Chimera. They summoned the Hugin effect, discard, I chained the D-Baz, called Fusion, and it won me the game, and also it left the Hugin stuck in the EMZ, so they couldn't even get any of their other fusion monsters out. It's just a really good card. And last but not least, for the side deck, the Tikaboo. Yeah, it's just an annoying floodgate to go up against. Most decks fold to this, and we inherently just do not play into it at all. We're totally fine running this. There's nothing that overlaps. There's no cards. Oh, I can't go through this line, because like you're totally fine running Tikaboo in this. Obviously, by the very nature, that means you lose to like Rivalry and I mean Gozen as well. But that's what the other cards, the back row hit, is for in main. Because yeah, you're going to see a lot of floodgates, I feel like, this format, because it being such a wide format. Yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest.